My phone lit up with endless notifications that shattered the quiet evening in my Chicago apartment. My ex-boyfriend Ryan had just gone viral with a post outing my relationship with Aiden and painting me as the ultimate betrayer. I felt my stomach drop as I read the accusations he leveled against me in the caption and screenshots. He claimed I had cheated on him with Aiden and lied about my feelings the entire time we were together. The old messages he shared were edited in a way that made me look like the villain in our past. Panic set in immediately as I scrolled through the hundreds of comments from friends and colleagues now questioning everything. I immediately called Aiden, my voice shaking with fear as I tried to explain what had just happened. He was at his teaching job but promised to leave early and come straight over to support me. As I waited for him, memories of our happy times together flooded my mind in waves of emotion. Aiden and I had been together for over a year now, and our bond felt unbreakable until this moment. We met at a mutual friend's party in the city, connecting instantly over shared love for art and late-night talks. He was kind, patient, and always made me feel seen in a world that still challenged who I was. But now this post by Ryan threatened to tear apart the life we had built so carefully together. I tried to breathe deeply while sitting on the couch staring at the screen in complete disbelief. The drama escalated quickly as more people shared the post, adding their own judgments to the fire. Some comments offered support, but many were harsh, full of assumptions about my character and choices. I wondered how this would affect my job as a graphic designer and the friends I had grown close to. My mom, Linda, had always been a quiet, steady presence in my life, offering love without many questions. Unbeknownst to me, she had known about my sexuality for years, but chose to keep that knowledge private. When I was 17, she had found a private journal where I wrote about my first crush on a boy. Instead of confronting me, she decided to let me discover and share my truth on my own timeline. That silence had been her way of showing deep respect for my personal journey as a young man. Now, as the post spread like wildfire, I had no idea her silence was about to end dramatically. Aiden finally arrived at the door, his eyes full of worry, as he pulled me into a tight hug. We sat together on the couch, going over the post, trying to decide the best way to respond. He reassured me that our love was real and this would not change how he felt about us. Yet the weight of the public exposure made my chest feel tight with anxiety and fear. We spent the evening talking about our future and how to protect what we had built. The notifications kept pouring in, each one adding to the growing storm around my personal life. I tried to focus on Aiden's calm voice, but the online backlash was only getting louder by the hour. Across town in the family home, my mom was scrolling her feed when she saw the post about me. She paused for a long moment, reading every word, her face showing quiet concern but no surprise. She had known my truth since that journal entry and had watched me grow into myself quietly. Her decision to stay silent had always been rooted in love and a desire to let me lead. But something in Ryan's vicious lies stirred a protective fire she had kept hidden for years. She closed the app for now, choosing to observe how things unfolded before making any move. The night stretched on as Aiden and I held each other, finding small comfort in our shared strength. I told him about my fears of losing friends and how this felt like a public betrayal. He listened patiently, reminding me that the people who mattered would see the truth eventually. Still, the drama was building and I could feel the tension rising in every new comment. My boss sent a concerned text asking if everything was okay at work the next day. I replied vaguely, trying to keep my professional life separate from this personal explosion. Friends from college reached out, some offering support, others asking for my side of the story. The buildup of pressure made sleep impossible as I lay awake replaying Ryan's words. Aiden stayed the night, his presence a steady anchor in the chaos swirling around us. Morning light brought no relief as the post continued to gain traction across social media. I felt exposed and vulnerable in a way I had never experienced before in my life. Yet deep down, a small part of me wondered if this storm might bring unexpected clarity. Mom still had not reached out, but I sensed her quiet presence in the background somehow. The day unfolded with more messages and calls, each one adding layers to the growing drama. Aiden and I decided to take a walk in the park near my apartment to clear our heads. The fresh air and his hand in mine helped ease some of the immediate tension we felt. We talked about how Ryan's bitterness from our breakup had turned into this public attack. He had been controlling and jealous even after we parted ways, which made this feel personal. I shared stories from our college days when I first realized my feelings for guys like him. Aiden listened with understanding, his support making me feel less alone in the spotlight. Back at the apartment, the notifications had slowed, but the damage to my reputation lingered. I checked my mom's social media profile out of habit, but saw no activity from her yet. Her silence had always been a comfort, but now it left me wondering what she truly thought. The drama continued to escalate as mutual friends began picking sides in the online debate. I felt the weight of every accusation pressing down on my shoulders with each passing hour. Aiden suggested we ignore it for now, focusing instead on our own relationship and happiness. His words brought a small measure of peace, but the storm was far from over. The following morning brought fresh waves of backlash as more people joined the conversation online. Comments poured in accusing me of being dishonest about who I was and who I loved. Ryan kept adding fuel by replying to threads with more out-of-context details from our past. I tried to stay off my phone, but the constant buzz made it impossible to ignore completely. Aiden had to return to work, but he called during his break to check in on how I was doing. His voice was calm and reassuring, helping me hold onto hope amid the rising tension. At my graphic design studio, colleagues whispered and glanced my way with curious expressions. My boss pulled me aside for a private talk, expressing concern about the impact on team morale. I assured him it was a personal matter that would not affect my performance or commitment. Inside, however, the stress was building and I struggled to focus on the projects at hand. Lunchtime brought a message from an old high school friend asking if the post was true. I replied honestly, explaining Ryan's lies, but the doubt in their response stung deeply. The drama was spreading beyond social media into real-life conversations and relationships. I felt isolated even with Aiden's support as the weight of public judgment grew heavier. Mom still had not contacted me, but I knew she was aware of everything unfolding now. Her long silence about my sexuality had always felt like quiet acceptance until this crisis. I recalled family dinners where she would ask about my friends in a gentle, knowing way. She never pushed for details, allowing me the space to share only what I was ready for. That respect had meant the world to me as I navigated my identity in a complex world. Now, with Ryan's slander gaining momentum, I wondered if her silence would remain unbroken. Aiden and I met for dinner at our favorite Italian place, trying to escape the online noise. We held hands across the table, talking about our plans for the future despite the chaos. His optimism was infectious, but the shadow of the accusations lingered in every conversation. Later that evening, a group chat from college friends exploded with debates about the post. Some defended me while others echoed Ryan's claims, making the division feel painfully real. I stepped away from the phone, feeling overwhelmed by the betrayal and loss of trust. Aiden stayed over again, his steady presence a lifeline as the drama continued to intensify. The next day brought a call from my sister, who had seen the post and wanted details. I explained the situation, carefully noting how Ryan had twisted the truth for revenge. She offered her support, but the conversation left me drained and emotionally exhausted. Work became a challenge as deadlines loomed and the personal stress affected my concentration. I pushed through the tasks, focusing on the creative process to find some sense of normalcy. Ryan posted another update claiming more evidence, which only fueled the growing fire online. The accusations now included claims that I had hidden my true self from everyone, including family. That part hit closest to home because it touched on the secret I had guarded so carefully. Aiden noticed my growing anxiety and suggested we take a short drive out of the city. The open road and changing scenery provided a brief respite from the constant digital pressure. We stopped at a quiet lakeside spot where we could talk without interruptions or notifications. He reminded me that our love was genuine and no online storm could change that truth. His words brought tears to my eyes as I leaned into his comforting embrace by the water. Back in Chicago, the evening brought more messages, including one from a supportive coworker. It was a small victory amid the negativity, but it helped lift my spirits slightly. Mom's profile remained quiet, with no posts or comments about the situation affecting me. Her continued silence felt both comforting and puzzling given the severity of the attacks. The drama reached new heights when a local blog picked up the story, adding more exposure. Friends began unfollowing me on social media, which felt like a personal rejection. I spent the night reflecting on my journey from hiding my identity to embracing it openly. Aiden and I cooked a simple meal together, finding joy in the small shared moments. His laughter filled the kitchen, easing some of the tension that had built over the days. Yet the climax of the conflict was approaching as the online world demanded a response. I drafted a statement but deleted it, unsure how to address the lies without escalating further. The pressure mounted as Ryan continued his campaign, making the situation feel increasingly personal. Aiden suggested we consult a mutual friend who was a lawyer for advice on the matter. The conversation provided some clarity, but the emotional toll was taking its visible effect. I felt betrayed not just by Ryan but by the world that seemed quick to believe the worst. Mom remained in the background, her silence a constant presence in my thoughts during this time. The build-up had reached a breaking point where something had to give in the coming hours. The night ended with Aiden and I falling asleep in each other's arms, seeking solace together. Dawn brought renewed determination as we faced another day in the eye of the storm. The tension peaked when Aiden received a message that made him question one of Ryan's claims briefly. A carefully worded comment suggested I had been seeing Aiden while still involved with Ryan. Though we both knew it was false, the seed of doubt created a painful argument between us. I defended myself passionately, explaining the timeline of our relationships and the truth behind it. Aiden listened, but the stress of the past days had worn on him, making him vulnerable. Our voices rose in the apartment as emotions ran high in the heat of the moment. He apologized quickly, realizing the manipulation at play, but the hurt lingered in the air. I felt a deep sense of betrayal from the entire situation, not just from Aiden's doubt. The climax of the drama left me feeling exposed and alone despite his immediate remorse. We hugged tightly afterward, recommitting to trust and communication in the face of adversity. Yet the public pressure continued to build as more details from Ryan's narrative spread widely. Friends who had been neutral now leaned toward believing the edited version of events. My professional reputation took a hit when a client mentioned the online buzz during a call. I handled it professionally, but inside the stress was reaching an unbearable level of intensity. Mom still had not intervened, her silence now feeling like a heavy weight on my shoulders. I drove to the family home that afternoon, seeking some sense of grounding and familiarity. The suburban streets looked the same, but everything felt different under the shadow of the scandal. Dad was out, but Mom greeted me at the door with her usual warm and steady smile. We sat in the kitchen where she poured coffee and listened as I poured out the story. She nodded quietly without interrupting, her eyes showing understanding but no shock or surprise. I asked why she had never said anything about knowing my sexuality all these years. Her response was calm and measured as she explained her choice to respect my timing. The conversation brought some comfort, but the ongoing drama still demanded immediate action. Back home, Aiden and I reviewed the latest comments, noting how the narrative was shifting slightly. Ryan posted yet another update claiming victory in exposing what he called my double life. The betrayal felt complete as the online mob seemed to turn fully against me now. I considered deleting all my accounts, but Aiden convinced me that running would only worsen it. The emotional high point left me exhausted and questioning every choice I had made publicly. That evening, a video call with my sister revealed she had been defending me in family chats. Her support was a bright spot amid the darkness, but it could not stem the rising tide. Aiden and I spent hours talking through our fears and hopes for what lay ahead. His love remained constant, providing the strength I needed to face the next wave of attacks. The drama had reached its boiling point with no clear end in sight for the conflict. Mom's phone call came late that night, her voice steady as she asked how I was holding up. I shared the latest developments and she listened without offering immediate solutions or judgments. Her silence over the years now felt like a deliberate choice rather than indifference. The conversation ended with her promising to stay in touch as events continued to unfold. Little did I know her long-held knowledge was about to become the turning point we needed. The night passed slowly as I lay awake processing the climax of this public ordeal. Aiden slept beside me, his breathing a reminder of the real connection we shared deeply. Morning brought a new wave of notifications, but this time something different was happening. The online conversation was beginning to shift in subtle ways that I could not yet see. I opened my feed with hesitation, expecting more accusations, but found unexpected support emerging. Aiden noticed the change too, and we refreshed the pages together in growing anticipation. The climax had passed, but the resolution still hung in the balance, waiting for the twist. We held each other closely, knowing that whatever came next, we would face it united. The drama had tested us in ways we never anticipated, but also strengthened our bond. Mom remained a quiet figure in the background, her role still unclear in the unfolding events. The air felt charged with possibility as the final pieces of the story began to align. Then suddenly a new post appeared from my mom's account that changed everything in an instant. She shared the original unedited screenshots of messages between me and Ryan from years ago. The full context revealed his manipulation and cheating while showing my honest efforts to end things cleanly. Her caption was direct and powerful, stating she had known my truth as a gay man for years. As Theodore's mother, she had chosen silence to honor my journey until this attack forced her hand. The post went viral within minutes, reversing every accusation Ryan had made against me publicly. Comments flooded in praising her courage and condemning his lies as the truth emerged clearly. Ryan tried to respond, but the original messages made his claims fall apart completely. Public opinion flipped overnight as supporters apologized and the narrative turned in my favor. I stared at the screen in disbelief as the twist unfolded before my eyes in real time. Aiden hugged me tightly, celebrating the reversal that had come from the most unexpected source. Mom had stood up to protect me after years of quiet observation and unconditional love. I drove to the family home, immediately needing to see her and understand her actions fully. She opened the door with tears in her eyes, pulling me into the warmest embrace imaginable. We talked for hours as she explained saving those messages just in case I ever needed proof. Her silence had been an act of profound respect, allowing me to define my own identity. When Ryan attacked, she could no longer stay quiet because protecting her son came first. The healing began in that kitchen as we shared stories, laughs, and even a few tears together. Aiden joined us later for dinner, where the atmosphere felt lighter and full of genuine connection. Dad listened quietly, nodding in agreement as Mom recounted her long-held knowledge about me. The family bond grew stronger through the ordeal, turning a painful chapter into one of growth. Ryan deleted his posts and issued a half-hearted apology that no one really believed anymore. The online world moved on, but the lessons stayed with me about truth, love, and courage. Aiden and I walked hand in hand through the park the next day, feeling renewed and free. Our relationship emerged even stronger, forged in the fire of public scrutiny and private support. I felt truly seen and accepted, not just by him but by the family that stood behind me. Mom's decision to break her silence had been the twist that brought healing to us all. We planned a small gathering to celebrate moving forward beyond the shadows of the past. Life in Chicago resumed its rhythm with new appreciation for the people who truly mattered. The experience taught me that love sometimes waits in silence until protection becomes necessary. Aiden and I talked about our future dreams with optimism unburdened by old fears. The ending brought a sense of peace as the drama faded into a distant memory. Mom and I grew closer, sharing more openly than ever before in our relationship. The journey had been painful, but it led to deeper understanding and authentic connections. I looked back on the events with gratitude for the unexpected ways support had appeared. Aiden squeezed my hand as we watched the sunset over the city skyline together peacefully. The story of my gay life had taken a dramatic turn but ended with healing and hope. Does a mother's long silence about knowing her son's secret represent true protection or hidden denial in the face of adversity? True or false?